What's up, guys? Welcome to Demo with Mo. I'm your host, Monique Simmons. We'll be discussing dating, engaged, and married objectives from a young Christian's perspective. Are you guys ready? Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Demo with Mo. I am your host, Monique Simmons. If you are new and this is your first time listening, welcome. If you have been rocking with me for a while or from the very beginning, welcome back. We have been on break from season 7, and I'm excited to be jumping back into a new season. And I am so glad to have you guys joining me. We're going to jump right into it. Today, we're going to be discussing sometimes you need to be reminded. I don't know about you, but sometimes I need to be reminded. Sometimes you can get blinded or overwhelmed or distracted by the things of this world, by life, by the storms. And you need to be reminded. My husband and I's therapist, she does this thing and she doesn't have to do it often. Every once in a while. And that's the thing about a reminder. You don't need a reminder often. Everybody varies. Some people need it more often than others, and that's perfectly okay. You know, I need it maybe every blue moon, but again, everybody varies. And it depending on what you're facing in your life, what's going on at the moment, what season of life you're in. Maybe you have little kids at home. Maybe you have a new position on your job. Maybe you're taking care of elderly parents. Depending on what season of life you're in, what you have currently going on, the reminder may be different for you, the amount of times you need to be reminded. But she does this thing where every once in a while, she will remind us of who we are, our love story, where we come from, what we've invested, what we've built together. And it's our story. Don't get me wrong. This is my husband and I's love story. This is our relationship. This is our family. We know what we've built together. And just a little context and a little background for those of you who may be new. This be maybe your first time here with Demo with Mo. And again, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'm so glad to have you here with me. My husband and I, we've been dating since our senior year in high school. We've been friends since we were sophomores in high school. So we have a lot of investment here. We've been rocking for a long, long time. We have 3 beautiful children. We got married at the young age of 21. So we've been together for a long time now. We're both 35 years old. So we have a lot of investment here. So sometimes, every once in a while, depending on what we have going on, depending where we are in our relationship, depending on what season of life we're in, she'll bring up, you guys have been together since high school. You guys are high school sweethearts. You have 3 lovely children. You guys have built your careers up together. You guys have been rooting for one another. You guys have this, you have that, you have friendships, you have family. Guys have supported each other like no one else. You guys have been there through the good, through the bad. You started from ground zero and built everything that you have now. And you guys have been there when you accepted Christ and all of these beautiful things. I'm talking about sometimes she sells it in such a way, it's like it's not even my story. And sometimes because the life that you're currently in, the life that you're living, the day-to-day hustle and grind and the season that you're in and you're working hard and you're taking care of your kids and you're paying bills and you're going through certain storms and you have life. Life is life. You get caught up in all of the external things that are happening in life, just the day-to-day things. And sometimes you can get so caught up in those things, just life happening. People getting sick, you're helping others, you're doing ministry work and so many things that so many people are facing in the world. So many people are in need. The storms are like literal storms, like the weather right now, the climate, the political views, and it's so many things that are happening in our society right now. Life is happening for so many people. And I'm trying to hit on so many points because I know what may be happening for me, what may be happening for my friends, what may be happening for my church family, what may be happening for you. It may vary from one to the other. And I don't want to feel like I'm leaving you out because I miss your scenario or your circumstance. But I just want you to know, for so many people, life is happening. And for so many of us, for so many of you, sometimes we have to be reminded. Just like from my therapist having to remind my husband and I. Sometimes you need to be reminded what is right here beside you, what is right here in front of you, even though in the midst of life happening around you, you have this right here, this beautiful thing, this beautiful investment, this beautiful partner, this beautiful spouse, this beautiful family, this beautiful thing that you've built, this beautiful thing that you have available to you, that is yours, that you love, that loves you back. And sometimes you can forget because of life. And you have to be reminded. And then you begin to hear these things and you like, this is mine. This is what I've done. This is what I've worked for. This is what I've invested in, blood, sweat, and tears. This is what God has given to me. This is what God has blessed me with. This is what God has sustained, and this is what God has done for me. And you have to be reminded of that. And if you're not careful, if we're not careful, we can easily forget. So let's talk about it. Not only do we need to be reminded when it comes to our partner and our spouses, because that's what this podcast is about. But this podcast is a relationship, marriage, dating podcast, but it's from a Christian perspective. So sometimes we need to be reminded also when it comes to our relationship with God. One, we need to remember God's character and who He is. And not only God, but our partner or our spouse's character and who they are as well. We have to be reminded of this. Sometimes when life gets heavy, when the storms are raging, when the noise is loud, we get distracted. We can't see the forest for the trees, and we forget the character of God. We forget the character of our partners. We forget the character of our spouses. We forget that they're not our enemies. They mean us good. They're good people. They love us. God is just, He is righteous, He is without sin, He is holy. He only means us good. That is who God is. Now, our partners, on the other hand, they're flawed individuals. They're sinful, but they also mean us good. And I mean this in a point of, especially if you're married to a believer, a Christian partner, if we're married to people in the perspective of if we're in healthy relationships. I'm not talking about abusive partners. I'm not talking about people who are physically, mentally, emotionally abusive to you. I'm not talking about in those circumstances. So when you hear me speaking of this, I'm talking about healthy relationship. So in that aspect, I mean your partner loves you. Because sometimes when things are rocky, when we're in a negative space, when we're in a hard season of our relationships, we can feel like our partners are our enemies. And if we can get in the right mindset and the right perspective, we can remember a partner is not my enemy. They don't want to bring harm to me. Yeah, we may be in a bad spot right now, but they mean me good. They love me. They care about me. And that can shift our perspective. That can shift our mindset. And we can tackle the issue at hand. We can tackle the problem at hand. We can fix that when we remember our partner or our spouse's character, who they are, and look at the problem at hand. Jeremiah 32:27 says, I am the Lord, the God of all mankind. Is anything too hard for me? Isaiah 40:25 says, to whom will you compare me? Or who is my equal? Says the Holy One. 2, we have to remember what he has done for us. And that comes to God, and that comes to our partner or our spouses. We have to remember what they have done for us. Again, in the midst of hard times, we can forget. Sometimes when things are hard, it's so easy to see the bad. It's so easy to only see the negative. But we have to intentionally, and purposefully look for the good, look for the positive. And when it's hard to see that in the moment, we can look back at the past and remember the good. Remember the good things they've done for us in the past. Look back at the history. Look back at the timeline. All the good things they've done for me up to this point. All of the positive things they've done for me up to this point. What has God done for you? And I know God has done many things for you because, again, that is his character. That is who he is. And you can go back and look at the history and see all the things that he's done for you. You can just go back and look. And I don't even have to know personally what he's done for you. I just know who God is. He can't help but to be good because he is good. You can put that on the shirt. He can't help but to be good because that's who he is. Psalm 77 verses 11 through 12 says, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. I will consider all your works and meditate on all your mighty deeds. Psalms 103:2 says, yes, I will bless the Lord and not forget the glorious things he does for me. And number 3, last but not least, remember what he has promised. Remember what God has promised you. And also, especially, I'm saying your partner and your spouse, but remember what your spouse has promised you. Because when it comes to your spouse, when we said I do, we made vows to one another. That's a covenant agreement. Just like God has made a covenant agreement with us. When we said I do, people like to say marriage is just a piece of paper. When it comes to God, God does not view marriage as a piece of paper. It's so much bigger. It's so much deeper than that. It's a covenant agreement. The same covenant agreement that God made with us. So it's so much bigger than that. But that's another subject for another day. But remember what God has promised us, and remember the promises that we made to our spouses when we said I do. When we made that covenant agreement with one another. We said for better or for worse, through sickness and in health, richer or poor. These are promises. We like to repeat those vows from one to another. But when things get hard, are you remembering what we promised to one another? Are you holding on to that? Because that's a promise. That's a vow. That's a covenant. It should mean something to you. It should mean something to your spouse. So when things get hard, you have to remember that my spouse made this promise to me. So even when you feel otherwise, you feel like they may leave you. You may feel like things are shaky right now. You may feel like it's unknown. You may feel like things are up in the air right now. No, my spouse promised me this. I made this promise to my spouse. I vowed this. I'm standing on this. I'm standing 10 toes down in this. And I'm not talking about in abusive situations. I'm not talking about when there's a habitual cheater. I'm not talking about in those cases. I'm talking about these are things that you guys are having issues and disagreements about that you guys can work through. Even if you need to get a third party involved, a mediator, do the work. Do the work. We just in a generation now where we give up so easily. But we made vows. We made vows before God. We made vows. We made promises. So remember that. Because again, sometimes we need to be reminded. And sometimes you need to be reminded. I made a promise. I made a covenant agreement before God. I can't just walk away from this every time my feelings get hurt. Every time I'm upset. Every time something don't go my way. I made a promise. Hebrews 13:5. Never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. That's what God promised you. And sometimes you need to be reminded of that. No matter what. God says no matter what. God don't have no stipulations on you. Woo! That's good news. I don't know about you, but that is good news. God says, never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. That means he'll never turn his back on you. He'll never turn his back on you. He'll never walk away. Nothing so bad you can do to make him walk away or turn from you, to abandon you. For somebody that, if you've ever been abandoned, if you've ever been walked out on, if you've ever been left, and for you to have somebody say, I'll never do that to you. I'll never do that to you. There's nothing in this world that will ever make me do that to you. That's good news. That's good news. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Meaning whatever you go through, good or bad, even the most terrible things, God is going to use it for your good. I'm going to take it all. Nothing will go to waste. Nothing will be in vain. All those things that hurt you, all those things that were meant for evil, all those terrible things, bad things, the good things, the beautiful things, I'm going to take all of it and use it for your good. Those who love me, those are called according to my purpose, I'm going to take all of it and use it for your good. That's how much I love you. I'm going to take all of it and use it for your good, for your benefit. And sometimes you need to be reminded of that. When you're going through hard times, when you're going through difficult times, and you're wondering, God, why? Why this? How long? What for? What's the purpose? And God said it's working out. All of it's working out for your good. All of it has a purpose. All of it has a plan. I'm going to take all of this. You don't understand right now. You don't know right now, but I have a plan for all of it. All of it's working together for your good. You don't understand. You don't know, but I love you so much. It's all working together for your good. It's all working together for your good because I love you just that much. I'm going to use it all. I won't waste any of it. None of it will be in vain. It's all working together for your good. And sometimes you need to be reminded of that. I hope this episode helped you today. And as we kick off season 8, this is just a snippet of what this season is going to be like. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it. But as always, remember, I love you, but God loves you so much more. So much more. Whew. You guys have a great day. Bye. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Follow me on Facebook at Demo with Mo. If you have any questions you would like answered here live on my podcast, email them to me at demowithmo@gmail.com. That's DEMOWITHMO@gmail.com.